Okay, and let's start. This is an any percent Quinfecta speedrun. The rules are simple. You have to beat all 5 Splatoon games in a row. That's Splatoon 1, 2, 3, the Octo Expansion, and Side Order. This is a sequel to a video I did a year ago, and it's been heavily requested I do an updated run with Side Order added. I attempted this run a couple weeks ago and set out with the goal to beat it in under 6 hours. But wait, says absolutely nobody, that was your goal last time when you did the Quadfecta, to beat the games in under 6 hours. And you didn't even do it. Well, my non-existent audience member, I have a plan. See, it has been nearly 2 years since I did the Quadfecta, and in that time, I've done a training montage, learned many new skips, improved my movement, learned strategies, and just overall improved my personal best times in most categories. And combined with all the new speedrun skips that have been discovered, especially a massive speedrun skip in Splatoon 1, I believe that if I follow this pace, I can get a run in under 6 hours. So, let's begin. I'll speedrun each game in reverse order, because if I mess something up I want to be able to start again quickly, and in my opinion the games get more difficult to speedrun as the series goes on. We'll start off with Side Order, by far the most difficult game in the series, because it's mostly luck-based, and if you die once, you have to restart the game from the beginning. That's why the attempt you're seeing is actually my 5th attempt. If you don't know what live split is, it's this thing in the corner of my screen. I use it to track how fast I'm going. It basically has certain points of the game and tells me what the time should be by the time I get there. For example, when I beat floor 5, I'm 12 seconds ahead of pace. Okay. That's why they're called splits, because they split the game into a bunch of segments. I actually have no idea. This is also not very accurate at all, as this is the first time I'm doing the run, and the splits here are not based on any real speedrun, they're more or less a guess, so they will vary a lot. I also have 2 timers here. The bottom one is time in real time, and the top one is time in fake time, meaning the bottom one won't pause during breaks or in between categories, but the top one will. Like all Splatoon games, the first section of the speedrun is just tutorial levels and cutscenes explaining how the game works. This is especially long in Side Order. It's only 15 minutes in until the first boss and the end of the tutorial climb. For Marina, she will only spawn enemies if you get too close to the tentacles, so you can just keep your distance and ink the base of all of them, and then they all take damage by themselves. In the rest of the fight, you can do a dodge roll to merge both your guns into a single shot. And that's the first boss done. Also, the game is in Spanish. This makes the text go by quicker. I guess Spanish people just talk faster. Because of the RNG element, this game has some really complicated strategies, and I will do my best to explain them. After the fight and the cutscene, we're in the square. For this run to be fast, I'm going to have to clear the entire spire in one run, and I only have enough pearls for one upgrade. Because I'm not going for a particularly fast run, and I only really care to get through the spire once with a decent time, I'm going to play it safe and use my pearls to buy an extra life rather than getting damage reduction. Because, in my opinion, an extra life is easier than 1.5 times damage reduction. I'm also going to use my keys to get Agent 4's palette, aka the splatter shot, and use this during the run. Now the real Side Order starts. The chips that I'll be trying to get are damage, range, support, and a few movement ones. They are better for speedrunning, so I'll try to get these while I can. I'm also going to avoid doing tower control or splat zone levels unless I have to, because they are very slow. Prioritising portal levels, 8-ball levels up until floor 22, and panicking Alamambo's levels. That's actually what they're called, look it up. And of course, if there are any vending machine levels, immediately go for them. I want to also try and get a special attack like Ultra Stamp or Tri-Strike, but unfortunately I never got one during this run. In Side Order, there are 30 floors that you have to beat that are randomly selected from a pool of 92. Every single floor in the game has its own special strategy, and I can't really go over all of them, but here are some vague strategies. All 8-ball levels, except this one, are really quick up until floor 22. This is where all the levels start to become much harder. Also, you can throw bombs underneath 8 balls to make them go faster. I'll also try to avoid portal levels that are difficult or dangerous until I get good chips or a good special. I got the spinny robot for boss number 1. This is faster if you have Tri-Strike, but I didn't. Anyway, just remember that the third and second to top layers are optional. Okay, so we're pretty much still on pace. For boss number 2, I got the spiky marble, which I still didn't have Tri-Strike for and unfortunately lost my first life. Thankfully, you can buy back lives at vending machines. I would prefer to have all my chips that I want by now so that I can purely do levels that are quick, like the panicking Alamambos. And the chips in this run were actually pretty good, but I still never got a good special attack and had to speedrun the last few levels, including the boss with Trizuka. Anyway, the final boss is pretty simple, not any special strategies. Side order is done. This is a big milestone as not many runs get past this point. I will immediately quit the game to skip the credits and load up Splatoon 3. Splatoon 3's time starts when you enter the crater, and we can begin. Same as side order, the first section of Splatoon 3 is just tutorial levels in the crater. But this time, it's actually interesting. For Crater 2, you can charge up a splashdown and then jump off this wall and use the splashdown to activate a checkpoint and then respawn at it, which skips most of the level. Then again in Crater 3, Small Fry can hit this ink rail even when the box hasn't been opened, so using this you can keep a key going into the rest of the level. Then again you can skip the rest of it by squid surging onto the switch up to the box to grab another key, so you can open both boxes and go to the Zapfish. Also quit the game to skip a cutscene. Skipping forward to Octavio now, Octavio's punches can be hit back quicker using a splashdown, so I try to ink the ground as much as possible to get splashdowns. Also, you can glitch Small Fry into the vacuum at the start of Phase 2, even when there is no vacuum. With the crater done, we get to Alterna, which is where the majority of the run is. Splatoon 3 has some complicated routes, but not as complicated as Side Order. This is also the only game where power eggs are required to be able to progress. Thankfully though, most of the fuzzy ooze can just be skipped by jumping past them. In older versions of the game, there are skips you can use to skip the first level, but I'm playing in the most recent version so I can play Side Order, so I have to play level 1-1. Afterwards, I also do Big Bang, which is a level that can be beaten in 3 seconds. That is the last level that I will do, as the rest of the power eggs I can get through finding them in the overworld and doing boss fights. The ooze at the end of Site 1 can be skipped, and then we get to the cutscene skip. There's a really difficult speedrun skip here where you go through a cutscene trigger while in the ooze, bypassing it. No, so close. But I didn't do it fast enough in my run, and I lost around a minute to the cutscene. It's fine though, because I was already ahead of time, and was still a minute ahead of time once I finished Site 1. I'll run around Site 2 for a bit, getting power eggs and also collectibles like decorations. This might seem pointless, but when you pick up something like this, you get a huge amount of power-up points. I will want 18 levels before doing Shiver, but for now, I can upgrade my gun to level 2. You can also jump past this ooze, saving 900 power eggs, and then fight Fry. Fry is partially based on luck, but I got pretty lucky. The second phase, you can stand here to shoot all the eels as they spawn, and for the third phase I use a splashdown to kill all the eels. Okay, well, that could have been better, but it was still fine. With Site 2 completed, I go to Site 3. There is no ooze that you have to clear here. The first one you can do a squid roll to jump past, and then you can jump off the ground to activate this level as you're falling. We won't do this level, but you can super jump to any activated level, skipping another ooze pile. Okay, I haven't actually done practice on Moxie in a while, so this might not go so well. Yeah, okay. This is Moxie skip. It's a very difficult skip where you try to jump past the ooze at the end of Site 3. You don't need to jump the whole way, but just far enough to activate a respawn trigger, spawning you at the other side of the ooze.
Oh, that made it.
I got Moxie Skip on the 4th try, which isn't good, and I'm now 7 seconds behind pace. Entering Site 4, there's a lot more collecting, and then taking this grind rail up to the boss. To skip the ooze blocking the boss, I can use this power egg cache in the ground to clip through a wall, which is called Shiver Clip. From here, I'll upgrade my gun and shoot the boss kettle from below, which I can then super jump to. I'm not going to do Shiver Skip, so the fight is just normal, just a lot faster as I now have a fully upgraded gun. Site 4 is done, and I can move on to Site 5, which is really quick and simple. I enter Site 5 through Site 3 as this costs less power eggs. The first ooze can be skipped by activating this kettle, and then the last ooze in the site can also be skipped by doing Own Skip. This is a very difficult skip where you throw a bomb to ink a tiny bit of ground that sticks out from where the ooze is. Then you throw Small Fry to activate a gusher, and then using the upwards momentum of the gusher combined with the sideways momentum of a squid roll, you can land on the tiny bit of ground.
That was nearly first try.
Which gets very difficult, as it turns invisible when you get close. Then from there, jump past the rest of the ooze and go to Site 6.
Let's go. That was close.
Site 6, there is only one required ooze, and I have enough leftover power eggs to clear it. Then time for Big Man. Big Man's clones are completely pointless. The sensor upgrade lets you see which Big Man is real. Splatoon 3 and the Octo Expansion both have a few levels to beat after the main story. For Splatoon 3, these take place inside of a rocket ship. There's also supposed to be a cutscene here, but you can just skip it by doing a squid surge.
There we go. Great, got it.
Rocket 1 doesn't have anything too interesting, but Rocket 2 does, because I don't play it. Okay, I promise this is the last time I skip a level, until Splatoon 1. This is Switch Skip, where you roll onto a pole that glitches your character's movement and makes them go wee.
Did I just get it first try? I just got it first try, okay. Let's go.
From here you can go out of bounds again and jump down to the end of Rocket 3, starting the final Rocket level. The first part of Rocket 4 is nothing special, but the second half can also be skipped by going out of bounds again. This time you can use a Zipcaster to activate the switch at the same time you stick to a wall. This then makes the door open as you are stuck to it, which pushes you out of bounds, and from here you can zip up to the end of the level and clip back in bounds to finish it.
Cool. Great.
Here we get a 4-minute long unskippable cutscene. This might seem bad, but it's time to get a break. The final boss is pretty simple.
Oh, also, we passed the 2-hour mark, so we're a third of the way through.
After finishing the final boss, Splatoon 3 is completed. This was a really good run, and if I hadn't messed up the cutscene skip at the end of Site 1, it would have been a personal best.
Ooh, okay, right, 3.5 minutes ahead. Let's go to Splatoon 2 now.
However, I totally forgot that I was going to play the Splatoon 2 tutorial before the Octo Expansion, so I lost a bunch of time doing that. Anyway, the Octo Expansion level system is a lot more linear than Splatoon 3, and we'll have to do a lot of them. I'm going to speed past the tutorial, the cutscenes, and the first few levels, and this is AO7. Near the start of the level is this moving platform. If you stand on it as an octopus, you can turn into an octoling and jump off it to fly to the other end of the level, hitting a checkpoint and respawning at it. This skips the majority of the level.
It's like these ables feel so much more sensitive compared to Inside Order. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Oh, dang it.
In DO6/CO1, you're on a grind rail, shooting boxes that are also on grind rails. In this level, I just remember a route to shoot them all. Girl Power Station is embarrassingly easy if you just remember where all the octolings are going to spawn and then shoot them there. You can also shoot them before they jump into the level. I even choose curling bombs just to get to the level faster.
Play it a little bit slower than usual because I know I'm very far ahead and I don't need to do anything risky.
Next is JO2, the level that you're supposed to take slowly and carefully, slowly carving out the shape of an octopus, and if you hit a single brown box, you explode. However, the idea of going slowly kinda defeats the whole point of speed runs, so I choose the Rapid Blaster, the worst weapon for this, but it's also the fastest. It allows you to shoot multiple boxes in one go and is basically required if you want a good time.
This is scary. Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's go. Right. Phew, okay, that's great.
Anyway, time for the only boss station I'll be doing. This is the Octo Shower. You have Inkjet for it, so you can just kill the Octocopters from the ground. First thing down, and there are only 2 levels until the second thing too.
Great. Okay.
At the end of BO1/AO3, you can knock the 8 balls onto the seesaw without even having to unlock the pufferfish.
Okay. Great start. And jump. Cool. And jump. Great. Cool. Great.
Thang number 3 down, and there are only 3 more levels until Thang 4. Can't Touch Me Station is a pretty difficult one, but I managed to get through the whole thing without taking damage, until the end, where I died twice.
That was stupid.
With the last Thang completed, the main part of the game is finished. I also passed the halfway mark in the speedrun. But same as Splatoon 3, we've still got the escape sequence to beat. Escape 1 and the first half of Escape 2 is pretty simple, but then there comes Octo Shot Skip. In Escape 2, you usually have to go on a little detour to get the Octo Shot, but the end of the level is just right past this door, which you can get to before getting the gun. You just need a way to ink it with a bomb, which is possible. If you just squid hop to spread ink, and you can climb on top of the Octo Seeker, then climb up to the door and throw bombs on top of the wall adjacent to the switch, and just hope that a bit of ink falls down and activates the switch. This is a really inconsistent skip and is really luck-based, and I got it on my 16th try, which isn't that good. Anyway, Escape 3, this level is cycle-based, so you have to try really hard to get on the fastest cycle, and I unfortunately jumped the wrong way here, so I just barely didn't make the fastest cycle and died.
So close.
Escape 4 and 5 aren't anything too interesting, and Escape 6 is nearly an auto-scroller, as long as you're constantly inking the Zapfish egg, which you can do without losing ink by alternating ZR and ZL to turn into a squid and get ink.
Okay, and if we jump here, we can just skip the elevator. Cool.
Last escape level is Agent 3, who we all know is embarrassingly easy. Then, the next 9 minutes are just one really long cutscene, and a boss that takes exactly 3 minutes. Even if you beat it faster, you still have to wait. So, a nice break from going fast all the time. But, at the end of that fight, that is the Octo Expansion completed, and it's time to move into everybody's least favourite game, Splatoon 2. Splatoon 2 is by far the longest game in the series, and it took me an hour and 44 minutes to beat. However, almost the entire game is filled with mediocre, boring speedrun levels that are reasonably fun to play, but really don't have that many speedrun skips or interesting things to talk about. It's pretty much just the dev intended method, but fast. There are lots of tiny little optimizations, but I can't possibly go over all of them in one video. So 90% of Splatoon 2 I'm just not going to talk about. There are some things though. You can upgrade your weapons in this game to get curling bombs, which is basically required for speedrunning. They can instantly shoot out a line of ink which you can run through. So I'll be trying to get them before level 7, making sure to grab the 50 power E's at the end of the first boss. I missed them. But I was still fine, I just got more than I usually would in World 2 and was able to buy them after level 5. There's this really cool speedrun skip in level 6 that I wanted to showcase because it's like the only one in Splatoon 2, but I messed it up. For every boss in Splatoon 2, you can reset the level as soon as you hit the ground. This will trick the game into thinking you've already seen the cutscene, letting you skip it the second time round. For the Octo Samurai, there's a strategy where you can destroy the tentacle in one hit, but I messed it up 3 times. After the second boss, I decided to take a break. You're allowed to take 3 breaks during the run, so I stopped playing for 20 minutes and took a break. I also set up Splatoon 1 during this. World 3 is very similar to the previous 2 worlds. You can activate levels without going to them, and then just super jump to them like in Splatoon 3. Okay, that was strangely thrown curling bomb, it didn't even ink the ground. Okay, well that wasn't great. I am 5 minutes ahead. So, I think, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna risk doing Seeker Skip. I only just learned how to do Seeker Skip like a few days ago, and, yeah, I'm not gonna risk it. I tried doing Seeker Skip, but I was really far ahead and decided I didn't want to risk doing a really difficult speedrun skip this late into the game. Especially that I only had learned the skip a few days before starting the run. Also, if you're wondering why all the green ink is weird, I think it's because I had a green screen filter turned on, but I haven't been able to turn it off. Why didn't that work? No, come on. This is actually like a really easy skip. It's just not working for some reason. No, fine, that's it. The third boss is the return of Octo Stomp, but I haven't gone to the original yet anyway. He's pretty fun to speedrun. That was quick. World 4. All Octoling levels are the only ones that you can choose which weapon to play with, and I will always choose the Dualies. They are really good for speedrunning. After an awful blaster level, the Octo Shower boss is very similar to the Octo Expansion counterpart. Okay, good, that was quick. Yes, okay, now, come on. Yes, okay. Great. But yeah, I'm like 7 minutes ahead. It's because, like, I wrote these splits. I don't need to be going really quickly to do it, so. Now, the final world. The levels are starting to get really difficult here. Even in the overworld, you usually have to go through a big invisible maze to get to level 22, but you can do 2 suicide bomb throws to activate it early. Cool, got it open. No. Actually, wait, no, now I don't have a special attack. Huh, lost 2 minutes there. Yeah. Alright, that's it. Last level before Octavio. Right before fighting Octavio, I will jump back to World 1 and upgrade my gun to level 2, using all the power eggs from the past few worlds. Octavio himself is a pretty boring fight, there's not much you can do to speed up the fight. The fight is mostly based on RNG. You can only damage him with the regular punches, and you just have to sit through any other attack. 6, 2 more. Okay, that was like super quick. It's like one of the fastest phase 1s I've ever done. I got really good luck for the first 2 phases, and that pushed me to over 9 minutes ahead going into Splatoon 1. Here we go. Whoa. Yeah, alright, that Octavio was, like, really good. That was, yeah, the first 2 were so lucky. It was at this point I realised that if I kept this pace, I would get a 2nd place run on the leaderboard. But Splatoon 1 is not easy. I chose it to be the last game because of how short it is, but there are some very difficult speedrun skips in it. I love Splatoon 1, it's just like, after speedrunning all the other games for so long, it just feels so much nicer. It's by far the best. In level 2, you can do cannon skip, where you ink this wall to climb up to the end of the level without having to use the cannon. I had to frantically grab a few power eggs at the end of level 2 so I had enough for Seekers.
Now I can grab stickers.
Which is like curling bombs, but just less bed.
I say bed. Less better. Worse.
For the first boss, I will use a glitch known as RFG, or Rapid Fire Glitch, where you mash the D-pad to increase the amount of ink your gun shoots. To mash effectively, I put the controller on my knee and just vibrate my entire arm, as the more you mash, the more damage it does. Now, after beating World 1, it's time to go to World 5. Yeah, Worlds 2, 3, and 4 can all be skipped. World 4 skip is a very well-known one that was discovered the day the game released, but more recently a new skip was discovered involving a previously thought useless glitch where you can jump really high on ink rails. What this will do is put the inkling into a glitch state, where if you go on and then off an ink rail really fast, it will launch you into the air. Doing this twice lets you enter World 4. This will load all the kettles so you can throw a bomb, and then pause the game, as pausing the game stops you from moving, but doesn't stop bombs, so you can keep the kettles loaded as you activate them with a bomb. I made a separate video going into more depth of the skip and how to do it. That video will be linked in the description.
Let's go. Got it, right, okay.
Then super jump to World 4 and skip half the game. And then, of course, doing the all-famous World 4 skip.
There we go, finally, okay.
To go straight to World 5 from World 1. Here I will do all the levels, and most of them are pretty quick.
Okay, well that was great, that was so quick, okay. Yeah, that level was good, except for the start, but yeah.
I'll also get burst bombs. This makes rapid fire glitching easier for the final boss, DJ Octavio. This is the third time I'm fighting this guy, and is also the longest boss in the series. For every single punch, and for every single eyeball, you have to do an RFG.
Cool. Ooh, it's gonna be close. No, it isn't, but like, whatever. No. That's awful. That's actually crazy. Okay.
In Phase 3, you can pick up an Inkzooka so you can knock back the eyeballs faster.
Here we go.
And do the same for Phase 5 to finish off Splatoon 1 and the entire Splatoon series with it.
Boom. Sub 6 hour. Or in the in-game time it's sub 6 hour, but like, yeah, great, okay. That was one of the best speedruns ever.
So that's the entire run completed. I got my goal of under 6 hours, and that also places me second place in the world. A massive thank you to the entire Splatoon speedrunning community for discovering all the strats and skips done in this run. So, bye.